this afternoon, I was tasked to talk to you about what's happening in the property sector. So in the next few minutes, I have a lot of graphs here, but I'll make it interesting and hopefully, quick and easy for all of you who are listening. So let me start by sharing the outline of my talk. So I'll talk about what's happening in the Philippine economy. And I'm sure marami po sa inyo alam naman kung anong nangyayari ngayon sa Pilipinas. But I'll talk about that. I'll talk about the office market, which I always say is one of the best barometers of a growing economy. When an office space is built and then it's taken, that means jobs are created in the market and maraming kumpanya na nag-e-employ ng mga Pilipino. Then I'll talk about the residential market, which is, of course, the star of this afternoon. RLC residences, they're giving away a lot of discounts, a lot of promos, so take advantage of that. And what are the drivers that's fueling right now the demand for real estate? And it's a buyer's market. Alam po natin yan. That's why RLC residences, they're here. They're giving a lot of discounts kasi panahon po ng mga buyer ngayon. So take advantage of that. So the Philippine economy, and you can see that today, the Philippines is actually one of the best performing countries, in ASEAN region, second after Vietnam. Growing at almost 6% annually. And the forecast is that in the next 3 years, we're growing at more than 6%. And that's great because, other Asian countries, they're tapering their growth. The Philippines, the forecast is still good. When you look at the economic indicators in the next 12 months, as mentioned, the forecast for the Philippine economy is moving up. Employment rate is up. Marami pong trabaho ngayon. Anywhere you go, traffic is back. And that's because activity is back in the market. The OFW remittance is at all-time high. The outsourcing industry, shopping malls, retails, always packed with people. When you go abroad, it's not like that. It's different. But in the Philippines, it's always a different story. So I'll talk more about that. Interest rate, though still high, but it has gone down. Hindi na siya katulad nung 2 years ago. Mas maganda ngayon. And inflation rate. So hopefully the government is addressing this. And at least in the next few months, the expectation is that both will go down, which will help a lot of Filipinos who are actually borrowing money from BDO, BPI, and other banks who participated this afternoon. In the real estate sector, we also monitor these indicators. GDP from construction right now is up. Real estate loans, kahit nung pandemic and up to today, tumataas. Maraming Pilipino nangungutang sa bangko para kumuha ng dream home nila. So that Filipino dream will never go away. Yung magkaroon ng sarili mong bahay, sarili mong tinitirhan, kahit yung mga OFW na nawala for how many years, pag bumalik sila, they'll buy their dream home. So that forever will stay. And the incredible opportunities. 3 big pillars of the Philippine economy. In the past, like 20, 30 years ago, OFW lang, mag-abroad ka, that's the best way for many Filipinos to have a good life. But today, it's not the case. Kahit dito sa Pilipinas, marami ng magandang opportunities. There are so many jobs. Just get out of this area, Bridgetown, 20 years ago was nothing, Talahiban, 'di ba? Damuhan. But look at this today. It's Robinson's Land have built this area and they are doing a mixed-use township development in this area. And the outsourcing industry is fueling that. A lot of big companies, their back office, they're housed here, employing millions of Filipinos. Aside from that, tourism, another area. So the OFW, BPOs, and tourism. Tourism is growing. Ang daming magagandang lugar sa Pilipinas, pero transportation, of course, is a concern. And that's another thing na may opportunity pa. So looking at the Philippine demographic window, population, 100 plus million, labor force, kalahati, nasa working population, average age 26. Sa ibang bansa, ang tatanda na nila, di ba? you're enticing them to get married, to have children. In the Philippines, that's not the problem. We're very productive, and almost everyone can speak English. That's why the outsourcing industry is growing here in the Philippines. So when we talk about the office market, I just want to show this. Medyo magulo. So you can see that from 2012 up, or let's say 2010 up to 2019, that was the growth of the Philippine real estate economy, the Philippine market. So that was the time wherein all the big brands started to come in the Philippines. Ngayon, almost, brands that we can't even pronounce, they're already here in the country. Diba? Yung mga Hermes, Louis Vuitton, etc. 15, 20 years ago, they don't have shops here, but today they're here. Office market, it's still, challenging there because there are a lot of office supply, and the outsourcing industry and many companies are doing work from home, hybrid work, flexible workspace. But then it has, fueled the growth in the condo market, the housing market, because many Filipinos started to upgrade their housing, their condominiums to accommodate work from home and better housing requirement. So in terms of supply also, bumaba rin yung construction of many companies when it comes to office space. Now, the demand drivers. So pre-pandemic, we had, of course, BPO, the outsourcing companies, and then gaming, a lot of Chinese players, Chinese gaming company. Today, that's quite a different story. We see a lot of traditional office takers, and the BPO industry still fueling the real estate market, but a lot of government agencies also taking space. And then in the provincial areas, we can see here that, concentration of business, it's not just here in Metro Manila, it's growing in the provincial areas. And RLC residences, they have projects all over the Philippines. So digital cities, you can see here that the country, including the outsourcing industry, they have identified 25 cities wherein they can employ Filipinos, they can have the facilities that they want, and there's government support. So all the way from Lawag down to General Santos. And you can see that in these areas, the investment of the country in infrastructure is really concentrated. So dito po tayo tumingin ng mga properties na eventually magtataas pa ng price. So that's why I'm sure RLC residences, they have a lot of projects in this area near transportation hubs. So this is just one of the big projects of the government, the Luzon Spine Expressway Network. And then now let's go to the residential market. So ang dami pang pangangailangan ng mga Pilipinos na bahay. So look at that, how many, millions of houses that the government, we still have to provide our many Filipinos. And that's why those who are in the residential business, there is a very good opportunity because it's still a very underserved market. And as mentioned, real estate loans continuously increasing, though the growth is not that high anymore. And the interest rate also in the last how many years have gone up, but now it's slowly correcting. And when you look at the property prices, anumang type yan, whether it's a condo, house and lot, duplex, lahat sila across the board have increased in terms of price. Hindi naman bumababa talaga yung presyo because land is finite. Yes, there are some discounts now, but when you look at land prices in the Philippines, pataas po ng pataas yung presyo ng lupa. So kung gusto mo ng mura, lalabas ka na ng Metro Manila. And just to show you the behavior of many buyers, Filipinos would usually buy house and lot, bigger house and lot outside Metro Manila. And then inside Metro Manila, they would buy condominiums because it's either, they want to live near where they work or it's a halfway home. Or for some, yung mga may malalaking pamilya, they give it to their children. And demand indicators, as mentioned, tourism is driving growth in the real estate industry and in the residential sector. Bulk of the tourism, big hotels, they're still concentrated in Metro Manila, but resorts are everywhere, all over the Philippines because of the growth in tourism. In terms of revenue, we're back to the pre-pandemic levels, but not in terms of arrivals. So hopefully with all the infrastructure project, mas dadami pang turista sa Pilipinas. And if you're curious, sino ba yung pinakamaraming pumupunta sa Pilipinas? It's before Chinese market, now the Koreans are here. And then people from the US, kasi marami ring balikbayan na considered as tourists. And the Airbnb market, in other countries, this is already a mature market, but in the Philippines, it's just growing. And that's why many Filipinos are buying condominiums and then using that as a vehicle, as an investment tool to grow their Airbnb business also. And then the outsourcing industry, yung mga call center or BPO, higher value work, we're the number one when it comes to voice and second when it comes to non-voice. Yung mga IT work, architecture work, accounting, back office. A lot of that jobs right now are here in the Philippines. So big American companies, European companies, and even companies from India are putting their back office here in the Philippines, employing millions of Filipinos. That's why we are now able to afford condominiums, house and lot outside Metro Manila. And then the OFW remittances, as mentioned, it's at all-time high. And many Filipinos under the middle class bracket, they have either one of their, mom and dad are actually OFW. So that's the usual case here in the Philippines. And yes, we do get a lot from the US and mostly Middle East. A lot of Filipinos are working in those countries. And why invest now? I think yun yung discussion today. That's the most important. Bakit ka nga ba bibili ngayon? Bakit hindi bukas pa? Kasi tapos na yung RLC discounts and promo. No, today is actually a good day because, property prices will always appreciate in value. And timing is very important in real estate. So in the real estate sector or in the property market, may 4 phases. So may, we came from during the pandemic, that was recession. We're now in the recovery phase. And then expansion, hypersupply. You don't want to buy something when it's, super in demand, the market is overheating, or napakamahal ng presyo kasi ang daming nag-aagawan. You want to look at properties when the market is actually not so good or it's recovering. Like, during the pandemic, or right now, we still have a lot of challenges in the market, but the market is already recovering. And big developers such as RLC Residences, they're giving discounts. So look at that. So timing is everything. Location also is very important. And the track record of the developer. You want to buy something that, of course, it's something na long-term. You're not buying and flipping it right away. Real estate is always a long-term investment. It's a long-term asset. You hold it. Pinapamana mo pa nga yan sa pamilya, sa anak mo, di ba? Or you use it as an income, a vehicle, an investment vehicle. Finally, the good location checklist. So lahat ng bumibili ngayon, I'm sure before you buy something, you go there, you look at it, you feel the area. Hindi ka naman siguro bibili na hindi mo nakita. Bihirang-bihira yon, para yon sa mga mayayaman o sobrang yaman. Pero sa mga pangkaraniwang tao, pangkaraniwang Pilipino, yung bahay mo, titirhan mo, bago mo, di ba, magdeposito dyan, you have to go there, you have to look at it, you have to feel the area, and the track record of the developer, as mentioned, is very, very important. Kasi maraming iba nabibitin, hindi natatapos, di ba? So, that's very important and crucial. Lalo na yung mga OFWs, yung mga nagtatrabaho abroad, pinaghirapan mo, tapos mawawala or hindi mo alam kung ano na nangyari, di ba? But again, going back to the checklist, this is what you see anywhere in the world, first world country or not, when a location is good, it has all these elements. It's easy access, hindi binabaha, may good labor market, Office is there, hospital is there, school, all the things that you need are within your reach. And when an area is like this, then it's a good location. It's something that can be considered as a good investment. And finally, I'm sure everybody knows this guy. He said, be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy only when others are fearful. Only buy something that you'd be perfectly happy to hold when the market shut down for 10 years. So that's the case like in the pandemic. Kung bumili ka noon na sobrang mura, halos nag-50 off, 60% off yung mga property, I'm sure masayang-masaya ka ngayon. Or kung bumili ka nung global financial crisis nung 2008, di ba yung BGC, magkano lang ang property, ang presyo ng lupa, wala pang 200,000 per square meter. Pero mahal na po yun nung panahon na yun. Ngayon, kahit 2 million per square meter, wala namang nagbebenta, napakamahal na, di ba? So, ganun yung appreciation ng property, ng lupa in the real estate market. So, timing, location, and developer track record. And with that, I end my presentation. Again, so ride the market. Now is a good time to consider looking at properties, especially when big developers such as RLC Residences is giving good payment terms, discount, and so many sweeteners just for you to get your first property. So with that, I wish everyone a pleasant afternoon. Thank you.